If you're a real estate agent that has been wondering, what should I be doing right now to build momentum on my business? Oh, you should go buy a lottery ticket because I got my friend Jimmy Mackin on today. He's going to give you exactly what you can do. 5 specific emails that if you'll follow these, I know you're going to get some results. All right, Jimmy, this is one of those. I know people are going to get value out of this. This is one of those where we're going to give them actually step by step some things they can do. They can copy, they can paste, and get some results. Nobody does it better than Jimmy Mackin, co-founder of Listing Leads. And Jimmy, as we're going through this, let's talk a little bit about the thought process and what is, in my opinion, and I know you've shared this as well, the most undervalued marketing tool that we've got right now.
Well, we know, Jimmy, a cold database is a dead database. And I think for everyone who's watching right now, we're so addicted to chasing internet leads that we forget that like the best leads are not on Zillow, they're already in your CRM. So you and I have been advocating and promoting and coaching and training agents that like this market, we got to be going after now business. We got to be getting people who are raising their hand or serious about transacting, next 3 months, next 5 months. And so there is no better way to help fill your pipeline than to master email marketing. And right now, what we're going to break down for today's session is we're going to unpack several email marketing strategies that are battle tested, things that are going to help engage your database, and most importantly, it's going to help you get people to raise their hand. Because Jimmy, you and I both believe this. It is better to attract than it is to chase. And so we got to start attracting people. And one of the best ways to do that, my friend, is through email marketing.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love about this too is like sometimes I think with listing leads, when I go on there, there's so much that you've given that sometimes it can get overwhelming for people. And I've got a lot of agents. I mean, you and I are working with a group of agents right now that we're walking through and we're telling them exactly what works right now. Listen, we're recording this at a time where you're going to get this at warp speed. So from that standpoint, you don't have to, these are the 5 that we would suggest right now. These are the ones that are actively generating opportunities for agents across the country right now. So let's just get right into this. Let's start. Where do you want to start? What's the first one you'd like to start with?
Well, I want to get some sellers and I want to get some listing appointments. And what I'm going to do is I'll break down the first campaign, this is our new 2025 spin on how much is your home worth. And so what you're looking at right now is a campaign where the first question that we ask, there's a technique that we're using here, Jimmy, which is qualify through copy, which is if I send a subject line that can help me understand that if someone opens this email, they are interested in potentially transacting, that's a win. So the goal is to get replies, but more importantly, the goal is to get a bunch of high quality people to open the email. Now I've got my prospecting list for the week. So the subject line of this email is specifically designed to say, how much equity have you gained this year? Now, the next line of this email is really important, which is we do something called value framing. Value framing is a way for you to increase the perceived value of an offer. It's when you wrap something, you package something in such a way where the simple act of you interacting with it helps you make you feel like it's worth more than just say something else. So by saying the line, I don't send an email like this often, we're increasing the perceived value of our offer. But I know a lot of my clients, especially recently, want to know how much equity they've gained in the last year. We're using kind of the herd mentality there. And even though it takes me some time to dig into the comps, analyze the sales, factor in the details that algorithms overlook, my clients always appreciate knowing what their home is actually worth versus an inaccurate online estimate. And Jimmy, you know me because you and I talk a lot about this. When it comes to calls to action, I always preach you've got to make the first step a small step. So by saying, hey, would it be helpful if I prepared one for your home? I'm just trying to get them to say, yes, absolutely. Just trying to get them to take that first step so we can turn that into a conversation. So this type of campaign, just a quick shout out to my friend Julie Woods. Julie Woods sent an email out like this. She got 17 requests for a CMA. Just to give some data on this, our friends over at Fellow has shared this with us. About 20 to 25% of people who request a CMA transact within the first 12 months. So if you get 17 requests or 20 replies, you got 3 to 5 transactions just from that one email. My advice would be, Jimmy, we think about email marketing like it's the what and the who. Who am I sending this to? Well, I'm sending this, in my opinion, to my entire database. my SOI, my past clients, and of course, my prospects. So the first email I'm going to recommend, especially right now, especially as we head into Q4, is the brand new 2025, How Much Equity Have You Gained This Year campaign.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy, interesting because I think a lot of people would have said, hey, just send this to the people you know who are homeowners. You're saying this is a broad brush to start and really engage that database and don't disqualify people for them. Let them decide. Is that what you're saying? I mean, because obviously this is a broad group that you're saying send this to the entire database, SOI, everybody, correct?
Jimmy, if I am on a one-man mission to get people to send more emails to more people, because I think segmentation has caused more harm than good. I think
Love it.
if you send a quality message out that is of value, where you're not overly aggressive and pushy, then you have permission to email people more. There are people in your database who are going to transact, and you have no idea if they own a house. So I don't want to be presumptive, Jimmy. If I got an IDX lead that came in through a forced registration or came in through Zillow, I don't want to be presumptive this is a buyer lead. They very well could own a house. We know 40 to 50% of buyers have to sell first. So I just want to make sure that we don't get paralyzed by the tags and segments and smart lists, and we use the content to allow us to filter out the highest quality people who are ready to transact versus everybody else.
This is really good. Hey, as we're doing this, because this is an evergreen type of email you can send out at any time to your whole database. Let's speak specifically to some of the things that are happening right now. And let me just say this as we go into this, 'cause let's talk about the rate drop next, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think as we lead into this is understand that as you're seeing this, things are changing so quickly. So if you're watching this or you're reading this in Inman and you're matching the video, it may be a little different. We're going to give you the up to the minute. We're going to go and give you a little bit of a broader what's happening right now. If things change in the next week, you'll notice down below in the comment section, I will have a different variation for this that comes from
Yeah.
Jimmy. But for now, let's just talk about kind of what we're seeing and why this is so effective right now.
Well, Jimmy, you know firsthand that there's a great expression, and we're going to find out who said this because that's going to escape me right now. And I want you to look it up while we're doing this. Is like if you go to sleep on a win, you're going to wake up with a loss. And I think what's interesting right now, and I'll share the email right now. Interest rates, as we are talking, as we're recording this, interest rates just hit what is now a 12-month low, 6.13% according to Mortgage News Daily. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The last time interest rates dropped below 6.3% was just about a year ago to date. Unfortunately, that drop that we all thought was permanent, right? Now, within 3 weeks, it was above 6.3%. And within 5 weeks, rates were back up to 7%. So we got no idea how long this rate drop is going to last. Yes, the Fed is planning on meeting tomorrow. Yes, we expect that to have a positive impact on rates, but we've been wrong before and we've been burned in the past. So what we want you to do is to take this opportunity right now, because Jimmy, we know our friends over at KCM put some data out on this recently. They said that only about 5% of people would consider selling their house with an interest rate above 6%, whereas 35% of people would consider selling their house if interest rates were in the fives. Jimmy, you and I both know this. People are getting interest rates in the fives on 30-year mortgages today. So the email that we want you to send is a very simple subject line. Will this impact your plans to sell? The last time interest rates dropped below 6.3% was a year ago. It didn't last. Now, Jimmy, I'm creating some urgency. Within 3 weeks, rates were climbing. Within 5 weeks, rates hit 7%. I'm talking to a lot of buyers who have jumped back in the market with urgency. I know selling might be the last thing on your mind right now, but with the recent changes to the market, has it impacted your timeline? And now we have a PS in here. You're probably going to drop that PS because the Fed would have already met by the time that you watch this video. But this is an email that's specifically designed to say, hey, sellers, I know you've been holding off on selling because you're probably not sure, if there's any demand. You're hearing all this negative news about the market. Well, guess what? We're talking to a lot of serious buyers. And by the way, Jimmy, I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to my friend Gretchen Coley. Gretchen Coley and I collaborated on a direct mail campaign that used a very similar strategy to what we're describing here, which is we called the Reason to Sell campaign. And what we talked about was exactly this, which is, hey, buyers are jumping back into the market. We sent out a mailer and we ended up getting over $5 million in listings using this specific campaign. So one of the best seller strategies, listing strategies, getting more appointments, more listing appointments, is to talk about buyer demand. Because what does every seller want, Jimmy? They want a buyer, right? So like
Right. Yeah.
talk about buyer demand. So this is a campaign, Jimmy. We know it's crushing via text message because we get that private group that's absolutely rocking right now. But this is an email I'm sending to get my sellers to raise their hand.
Yeah, Jimmy, what's great about this also is we're talking about emails here, but we utilized a very similar text to this, basically the same text with a lot. We used it as a text with that group that you and I are working together, and it crushed. I mean, we were seeing literally in the neighborhood, we had a couple that were in the 40-50% response range for conversations. And so I really love the idea of this. The other thing I want to encourage people is I know a lot of agents are super creative and they're like, well, if I changed it to this, let me encourage you, especially on your first drafts.
Yeah.
Jimmy is doing this. This is what he does. Trust the process. Utilize exactly what he's stating here. Maybe if you want to try to modify after you see if his works or you want to try to increase those things and test against, but use this as your basis and start with exactly what Jimmy's saying, because it's been tried and tested. By the time you see this, but Jimmy shares this has probably been sent out a number of different times, already tested, already tried, and it will work. So I just want to encourage that.
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, let's keep moving for time's sake also. So now we've talked a little bit from a standpoint from home values. We talked about rate drops. Where do we want to go from here? Because I know there's so many options out here.
When you start getting good at email marketing and you start studying the types of campaigns that we're recommending for you to send, you're going to get more listing appointments. And right now, one of the greatest opportunities that we have at our disposal is taking every listing and turning it into more listings. I'm going to give you the last 3 emails I'm going to give you right now are 3 emails I want you to send during the listing lifecycle to accomplish 2 things. Number 1, to build up a lot of demand for your listing. P.T. Barnum famously said, nothing draws a crowd quite like a crowd. And number 2 is I want you to take every listing and I want you to turn that into 2 or 3 opportunities. So, Jimmy, I sent out the equity email. I got 7 responses from that equity email. I booked 3 listing appointments. Here's what's going to happen next. I'm going to send out the pre-appointment email. So before I meet with you, Jimmy, I'm sending this email out. Subject line, I might get fined for sending you this. As a realtor, we're not allowed to publicly promote a listing until 24 hours before it goes live. But this is not a listing, it's an appointment. So we're in clear. I'm meeting with a seller today at 3 p.m. who's thinking about selling. What I can tell you is if they decide to list, the home is going to go viral on Zillow. I'll circle back with an update for you today. Wish me luck. Now, this is one of the very rare emails, Jimmy, that I'm sending where I actually don't have a call to action. All I'm trying to do is make them situationally aware of what's happening in the market. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to get a bunch of people who are going to say, keep me posted, keep me posted, keep me posted, right? Without even having sometimes this is a counterintuitive thing, Jimmy. It's a quick sidebar. Sometimes the absence of something actually communicates it more clearly. So as an example, if I buy food at the grocery store and it says no GMOs, right? I'm like, oh, that must mean it's healthy, as an example, right? Or like you see that when food products a lot, where the absence of something is how they communicate the value of something. So in this case, no call to action is the call to action. Now, to keep things moving, the next email I'm going to send, Jimmy, is the post-appointment email. I walked into that meeting. I'm feeling on cloud 9. I'm fired up. I get the listing. I send this email to everybody who opened up the first email. Subject line, I was wrong. Now, again, Jimmy, this is where I'm starting to really differentiate from every other agent. What do you normally see with the listing emails? It's just listed, coming soon, new listing, price reduction. I am trying to write like a human being so I can attract people. I was wrong. Here's the deal. The house looks even better in person. Forget what I said about going viral on Zillow. It might break the internet, which means we're targeting to have the home ready by September 15th, which means I can officially share with you on September 14th. Should I text you to ensure you don't miss the update? So what I'm doing here, Jimmy, I mean, like I'm promoting the day in which I can promote this. I can't give you any information, but I can tell you that I can give you the information on this specific date. And Jimmy, what happens with an email like this is you instantly get people raising their hands saying yes. And what's cool about this is you can go from an email communication to now I have text communication. Now, before I share the last email, before we wrap today's session, again, I am making this my SOP because I don't know if that listing is going to sell quickly. I don't know, like the market is changing. I don't know if I'm going to do a price reduction, but up until this point, I now have built the buzz around this home and I'm getting people to raise their hand. And the important thing that I want everyone to remember here is that we have to make a distinction between marketing that gets your listing exposure and marketing that gets you more customers. I'm all about running ads and promoting your listings and doing Zillow Showcase and getting your home in front of more people. I'm all about that. Do it. That helps you get listing more exposure. This is the type of marketing that gets you more appointments. So Jimmy, let's end with my last campaign. Because up until this point, what we've seen is we've talked about pre-appointment, we talked about post-appointment. What's the third email that I'm sending? Again, I'm just hitting my email database. And I know what's going to happen is before I share this, Jimmy, because I love this campaign, before I share this, I know people who are watching this, are going to be like, Jimmy, that's a lot of emails. Yes. Right? Like, you know, it's funny. People always are like, is that too many emails? Jimmy, you're familiar with our obviously our friend Sharon, now works for Alex Hormozi. You know who Alex Hormozi is. I know who Alex Hormozi is. Maybe many of our audience knows who Alex Hormozi is. Alex Hormozi is producing, I would say, 400 to 500 pieces of content a week. He's all across the internet. He's sending like dozens of emails a month. I mean, this guy is an absolute content machine. What's interesting is, you know who he is. I know who he is. Much of our audience knows who he is. You know who doesn't know who he is? It's my wife. She has no idea who Alex Hormozi is, which tells me that if Alex Hormozi is producing hundreds of pieces of content, sending dozens of emails to his database, and people like my wife who are like in his demographic have no idea who he is, guess what? He's still not doing enough. Which is, what's the answer to your marketing? The answer is always more. Always more. Right. So I would advise everyone who's listening right now, which is I want you to get really comfortable with being uncomfortable. I want you to get really comfortable with more. More emails, more posts, more texts, more postcards, more sales letters, more Instagram videos, more. The answer is almost always more. So let's end with this, Jimmy. Forward to a friend. So this is a campaign where when I think about this campaign, and I'll give you an example of this in a second. I'm going to pull the email up so you can see this. The subject line of this email is going to be forward to a friend. This in marketing is called priming. In the next 24 hours, our new listing is being blasted all across the internet, which means that right now, in this moment, you have something only a few select people have. Early access to an extraordinary property. If this is the type of home that all other houses talk about behind its back because they're jealous of how much attention it's going to get, right? So I'm kind of personifying the house. I know this might be the wrong time for you to make a move, but I want to make sure that you knew about this because you likely have a friend or family member who's looking for this exact home. Here's my cell phone number. They can call me directly. I can give them all the details before it hits the market. P.S. If I don't pick up, be sure to leave a voicemail. If you want something done, Jimmy, give it to a busy person. All right, that's the mindset. And so what the brilliance behind this campaign, as we wrap here, the brilliance behind this campaign is if I can send this email to 300 or 500 people in my database, all I need is 5 or 10 of those folks to forward that email to someone in their network. And then all of a sudden, my phone starts ringing, not with my existing contacts, but with the new prospects that I created using my existing database. And that's the magic. So Jimmy, as we stack this, the brand new CMA, how much equity have you gained? What's happening with rates? Get people to raise their hand on interest rates. Number 3, the pre-appointment. Number 4, post-appointment. And number 5, the ultimate referral email, which is forward to a friend.
Yeah. Hey, listen, don't steal the blessing that Jimmy and I get when you get results from these. When you do these things, share with Jimmy, reach out to him on social media, on Instagram, reach out to me. Let us know that you've gotten success with these. And let me say this, if you'll do these, it's not a matter of if, it's when will you see the breakthrough you're looking for. As Jimmy mentioned, SOPs, standard operating procedure, and move these as something that you're doing consistently. And you're going to see some consistent results. Hey, I want to circle back to one thing, and there's 150,000 bonus points for anyone out there that knew who that quote was. You want to say the quote again, Jimmy? It was go
Yeah.
to sleep.
Yeah. Go to sleep on a win, wake up with a loss.
That would be Conor McGregor. I can't believe you couldn't remember Conor McGregor. So this is great. Hey, listen, as we close this out, go check out Listing Leads. It's the number one tool that I'm using with the agents that I'm really pushing right now to help them gain momentum in their business. Everything's done for you there. Can't speak highly enough of everything that Jimmy does. First off, Jimmy, publicly, I think I may have said this before, but there's very few people I've met that are as obsessed with copy and helping agents as you are compared to me. Game recognizing game. I just appreciate how much you give to the industry as a whole. So thank you, my friend. Take action, utilize these emails, and you're going to see some results. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.